an era where digital alteration can manufacture a superstar overnight. A singular vocal talent from Lancashire has achieved global prominence by doing the unthinkable, sounding completely, undeniably flawless. But in the fast-moving landscape of 2026, a strange paradox has emerged around young vocal icon Lucy Thomas. The pristine clarity of her performances hasn't just earned her hundreds of millions of views, it has triggered a wave of intense online skepticism. When an artist's pitch, tone, and breath control seem to completely defy human limitation, the immediate reaction of a modern internet audience is to look for the hidden machinery behind the curtain. Tonight, we launch an in-depth investigative report into the deliberate industry strategy, the deep-seated digital skepticism, and the massive cultural narrative that built a modern global icon. We will uncover how a young singer from standard beginnings became the center of a massive online debate regarding authenticity, corporate curation, and the psychological cost of forced perfection in the digital age. This is not just a story about a viral singer. It is an exploration of how our society treats young geniuses when they give us exactly what we demand. The moment a human voice crosses the threshold into absolute perfection, it triggers a bizarre psychological reaction online known as the sonic uncanny valley. As Lucy Thomas's studio videos began dominating digital algorithms, a quiet skepticism among vocal enthusiasts rapidly grew into widespread internet speculation. Skeptics and online commentators began picking apart her viral uploads frame by frame, confidently claiming the immaculate vocal tracking was simply too clean to be entirely organic. In the hypercautious media landscape of 2026, global audiences have been deeply conditioned to suspect artificial intelligence, heavy auto-tuning, or deepfake audio manipulation whenever they encounter something beautiful. This wasn't just casual internet trolling. It became a systemic debate across global music forums regarding the authenticity of young prodigies. Comment sections transformed into amateur investigative hubs, with users analyzing her lip-sync precision and acoustic resonance, desperate to uncover a technical glitch that didn't actually exist. What these online critics failed to recognize, however, was that this immaculate presentation wasn't a digital illusion created by software, but rather the result of a highly calculated, traditional studio environment designed to shield a young artist from the chaotic standard public pipeline. The irony remains stark. Her absolute technical proficiency became the primary evidence used against her credibility. While most modern reality television contestants thrust themselves into the chaotic media meat grinder, a quiet executive decision locked this 14-year-old prodigy away in a highly controlled creative sanctuary. Immediately following her breakout appearance on The Voice Kids, Lucy Thomas bypassed the traditional, exhausting public relations circuit that typically drains young performers. Instead, she was signed to Cavendish Records, an independent label that deployed a highly unconventional management strategy. They chose to completely bypass live radio tour, chaotic press junkets, and unpredictable public appearances, opting instead to place her inside acoustically perfect, beautifully lit studio environments. For years, the global public only interacted with her through these pristine, heavily curated video uploads on YouTube. While this brilliant strategy successfully insulated her from the typical pitfalls of early fame, it unintentionally created the exact vacuum that fueled the internet's deepest skepticism. By keeping her exclusively within a controlled studio lockbox, the industry inadvertently created an aura of mystery, leaving audiences deeply divided over whether they were witnessing an unprecedented natural talent or a highly manufactured studio product. The lack of raw, unedited public footage allowed rumors to spread completely unchecked across social platforms for years. Maintaining an unblemished public image in the relentless digital age carries a hidden professional toll that very few industry insiders are willing to openly discuss. When a young artist's entire global brand is explicitly built on a narrative of absolute vocal and personal purity, the margin for error becomes entirely non-existent. Every single release under the Cavendish label had to meet an impossibly high standard of technical perfection, establishing an expectation that would easily overwhelm even the most seasoned industry veterans. For a developing artist growing up under the intense lens of a million-subscriber digital empire, this restrictive framework created an immense psychological sandbox. The corporate strategy demanded an angelic, timeless persona that resonated heavily with older, traditional audiences, which left virtually no room for the normal artistic experimentation or public missteps associated with ordinary youth. This intense preservation of a pristine brand created a stark contrast between the immaculate internet icon and the real human being behind the microphone. The world demanded an untouchable musical saint, creating a high-stakes tension behind the scenes that was bound to eventually test the structural integrity of the studio walls as the young Prodigy transitioned into a mature adult. The ultimate moment of truth for any studio-born phenomenon occurs when the safety nets are stripped away, leaving nothing but a microphone, a live audience, and raw acoustic reality. As the online skepticism regarding her vocal authenticity reached a critical mass, Lucy Thomas stepped out of the controlled studio lockbox and directly onto some of the most prestigious stages in the United Kingdom. High-profile bookings at Manchester's Stoller Hall and London's historic theatre Royal Drury Lane became the ultimate testing grounds for her entire career. Industry executives, critics, and cynical internet commentators watched closely, fully expecting the flawless studio illusion to finally show its cracks under the pressure of a live, unedited environment. Instead, what transpired was a definitive, undeniable answer to years of online speculation. Thomas delivered live vocal performances so structurally sound and technically precise that they mirrored her studio recordings nearly note for note. She didn't just quiet the skeptics who alleged heavy studio manipulation. She completely re-established her credibility as a premier vocalist of her generation, proving that her immaculate control was entirely genuine. The live crucible didn't break her. It solidified her status as an elite performer. The most compelling chapter of this investigative story is unfolding right now in 2026, as the established icon quietly attempts to dismantle the very framework that made her famous. Now navigating her early 20s, Lucy Thomas is visibly charting a new, independent course that diverges sharply from the rigid formulas of her early career. Observers have noted prolonged periods of silence on her mainstream channels, paired with a strategic pivot toward original musical theater projects, most notably her deep involvement with the concept album Rosie. Furthermore, her decision to launch a highly personalized, direct-to-fan Patreon platform signals a clear desire to bypass traditional corporate curation entirely. This transition represents a classic industry pivot, a matured Prodigy attempting to claim creative autonomy and shed the heavily controlled purity narrative of her adolescence. Breaking free from a highly profitable, corporate-crafted identity is an immensely difficult maneuver in the modern music business, often met with heavy resistance from existing fans. As she transitions from pristine covers to complex, original material, the world is watching to see if her massive audience will accept an independent artist who refuses to remain perfectly boxed in. Ultimately, the ongoing evolution of Lucy Thomas exposes a much deeper truth about modern celebrity culture and our own complicated relationship with digital media. As our reporting shows, the public operates within a strange double standard. We demand absolute, pristine perfection from young artists, yet the very moment they deliver it, our digital skepticism drives us to brand it as artificial. Lucy Thomas successfully navigated the intense pressures of early studio isolation, proved her undeniable raw talent on the live stage, and is now fighting for the right to define her own artistic future. Her journey forces us to confront a vital question as we look toward the future of the entertainment industry. In an age where everything can be faked, generated, and manufactured by algorithms, will we ever truly allow a genuine prodigy to step away from a profitable, corporate narrative and simply be human? Lucy Thomas has proven her voice is real, but the true test will be whether the industry allows her identity to be real as well. This is a special report, and the world will undoubtedly be watching her next move.